Hey everybody, it's Sha Blackburn the LoonWitch, and welcome to my little video. Today we're going to talk about how you can get a good psychic reading, have a good psychic experience. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sha Blackburn. I am the LoonWitch. I'm an internationally known psychic. I have been practicing my psychic arts for over 30 years now, and I live in southeastern Massachusetts, where I have a business as well. So welcome. We are now sitting here in the healing room at the Enchanted Forest Spiritual Wellness Center in Rainham, Mass. And that's where you can find me when you come to see me in person. I'll be here. We have a great space here, but I won't go into too much detail, leave you wondering if you should come visit. Just a quick note about visiting. We are by appointment only, so you do have to schedule some time to come see us. Yeah, so let's get started. Today I wanted to talk to you about how to get a good psychic reading. And one of the first things that I will explain to you is why I decided to do this video. I did this video really because with the amount of experience that I have, and I do have clients in 18 countries around the world. So obviously I do work over the phone as well as in person and through Skype and Zoom for videos as well. But one of the things that I run into more often than not is that people don't understand what they need to do, how much information they need to give, and what the give and take process is to get that really good experience. People have told me that I'm scary accurate. I do have probably about a 90% client retention rate, which is pretty amazing. I have clients that I've worked with for years and years and years. Some of them now I would say I've been working with for 10 or 15 years consistently. So this is really important because it's going to help you no matter what psychic you choose to work with. It's just going to help you to have a better experience. So you're still going to be looking at my face, but I'm going to be looking at my notes. So here's my first question to you. Have you ever had your cards read and felt like the reader just didn't give you the information that you wanted? I get that from people a lot who come to see me. I had a reading before. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I didn't get the information that I thought I was going to get. So I created this article years ago, and then have worked it into a brief little workshop that I give sometimes when I go to big events. And it's important. So what is a reading? Let's set the parameters around that first, because if you're just going to get a reading, it's great if you have no expectations, then you will be surprised and hopefully pleasantly surprised. But most people have an expectation that they're bringing with them when they get this reading. So a reading, essentially your reader, your psychic, is using some sort of medium. So it's a divination tool. They're using tarot cards or oracle cards or stones or runes, or I also do myself aura photography. And those are all different types of mediums. And then mediumship readings and angel readings are open to different realms of existence, where a medium is bringing in your dead relatives, and an angel reader is connecting to that divine angelic realm. They're all considered readings. So it is the diviner's job or the psychic's job to interpret what the spirits, what their spirit guides, what the cards, whatever that medium is, it's their job to interpret what these things are saying about you and what you give you the information that you need to know in your life. So your psychic also uses intuition. Sometimes your body language will help as well, and the energy that you bring to the session. So a lot of times I will make sure that my clients don't have their legs or ankles crossed when they're shuffling the cards. If we're doing aura photography, I want to make sure that they don't have their ankles crossed. That type of body language, when you're sitting with your legs crossed, your ankles crossed, your arms folded, you're closing your energy off so that you're kind of letting the universe and your psychic know that I'm not really I'm not really interested in this process right now. I don't really want to participate, and I'm not receptive to the information you're going to give me. So all people are psychic, all readers are psychic. The only difference between them, between different types of readers and regular people, is that we are choosing to use that psychic ability. We're choosing to attempt to understand it. We are choosing to use different tools in addition to our God-given skills, if you will. So remember that the number of or type of tools being used don't foretell the accuracy or the honesty of any psychic. You know, the psychic can use a bunch of different things and still not tell you anything important. So what do you want the psychic to be able to do? You want the psychic to be able to confirm some things, tell you some things about yourself that they wouldn't know because they're not your friend. You want the psychic to be able to give you insight to a situation that's going on in your life that you feel you need help or guidance in making a decision. So be open. All forms of divination have to do with energy. We're all made up of energy. We leave our imprints on everything that we come into contact with. So if you're shuffling a tarot deck or holding a crystal when you're about to get your reading, you want to make sure that you're focusing and intention into those cards or into that crystal or into anything that you might be holding. Body language also tells a lot about what we're thinking and feeling. And I did briefly talk about that. Scrolling down through my notes here. You know, you don't want your arms crossed. You don't want your legs crossed. You can keep your hands on your lap. I know you can't see my lap, but my palms are flat on each hand. You can put your hands on the table, I suppose, if you want to. You want to try to be as relaxed as possible, but you also want to keep your energy flowing back and forth between you and the psychic, because that helps us to get more information. We're not necessarily reading your body language, although if you're sitting like this, you can be sure that we're reading your body language in the same way that we read people that we have meetings with, people we don't want to talk to, our kids when they're being sassy, and that type of thing. So just be mindful that you want to be open to the information. Answering questions. So sometimes a reader is going to ask a question and you don't want to give your whole life story, but readings can sometimes be very involved. So tarot cards, runes, and other divination methods are interpreted differently by different people. The psychic may look at a combination of cards and be prompted to ask you a simple question. And I do this a lot. Are you considering changing jobs? Are you considering moving? Are you considering getting a divorce? And for myself, a lot of times I will follow that question up with, let me explain why I'm asking. And all I want and all any psychic really wants is a yes or a no answer. Don't want your whole life story. Don't want you to give me more information than I need. I just need to know, are you considering changing jobs? Yes or no? And it's best anytime you're in a reading, if the psychic is asking you a question, they're looking to you to clarify what they're interpreting in the cards as a situation for you. If you don't want to give away your whole, and obviously you should never give away your whole life story in a reading. A simple yes or no assists the reader in giving you the best reading possible, because you're then opening that door or showing them that path that says, I am considering changing jobs. So again, for me, I mostly will say, ask the question, and then I'll give you clarification of why. I'll show you the card that I'm talking about, and I'll say, oh, well, this card typically represents a new job. Okay. You can be interactive, helping your psychic know that he or she is on the right track by giving confirmation at different points. And confirmation is simple. Just nod your head if something makes sense to you. If something gets you really excited, you can say, oh my God, yes, and that's always great. It's always great to hear. So psychic accountability, there's never a guarantee that you're going to hear what you want to hear. The energy that you're putting out may have nothing to do with the question you hold in your physical mind. You might come in to a reading thinking to yourself, I really need to talk about my work. And the next thing you know, you're talking about your marriage, you're talking about a new relationship, you're talking about an illness. The subconscious mind knows what you have to deal with first, and it's your subconscious and your superconscious mind that are connecting to these psychic psychic mediums, medium tools, the vehicles that we use to get the readings done. So it's important for you to know that even though you might not hear what you want to hear, you are most likely going to hear something that you need to hear. And then confidentiality, the majority of psychics will tell you that everything discussed in your reading is going to be kept confidential, and you're entitled to share information that you receive with outsiders. You may or may not be allowed to have people sit in on your reading. When I do readings with people, typically here in my space, I like it to be one at a time, unless it's, a child. And I do readings for kids, not too often, because I don't really need it, but sometimes I do because they're curious. And in that case, depending on their age, I might have the parent sit close by. If they're teenagers, I would ask the parent to wait in another room, because teenagers just generally don't open up with their parents around. And remember that the reading is for you. You can take notes. Some psychics allow you to record the session. If you're allowed to have sit-ins, you may need to pay an additional sitting fee. For example, you're going to see a medium, you want to talk to Great Aunt Betty, who passed away recently. Well, if you have another person coming and sitting in on your reading, they may get a message from their sister, or their grandmother may be coming through. And so a lot of times a medium, a true like spiritual medium, is going to ask for an additional sitting fee, because now they have to deal with not only your spirits coming through, but the spirits of your friend coming through. And it's a little bit harder to navigate who's coming through for who. Let's see. Professionalism. This is great, because you should be treated with respect and courtesy. No valid psychic is going to ask you for additional money to break a curse, light a candle for you, or anything like that. The likelihood, in all honesty, the likelihood that you've been cursed is pretty rare. And the more forward we are in time, the rarer it becomes. It takes an awful lot of energy to put that onto somebody. And we don't, typically people don't hate that deeply that they would do something like that. And also, there are very few number of people that could cast, create, send an effective curse. If I might be so bold as to say, there's a lot of things that you can do, but not necessarily things that are going to touch somebody. Sometimes the tone of voice can be just enough of a curse, right? But I have been to psychics before where they've asked for additional money to break a curse that's been put on me since childhood. And I know that 2020 used to do a lot of exposés. I haven't watched 2020 in years, but they used to do a lot of exposés on psychics. And it's because of that we know to be wary if somebody's asking you for additional money, if they're saying that you've been cursed and you need to pay for them to lift the curse, et cetera, I would get a second opinion, right? You wouldn't trust your life with somebody that you just met for 5 minutes, and now they're telling you something so devastating that requires another $500, $600 for you to cough up as a donation to the spirits. In my experience, spirits don't use currency the way we use currency. So an offering to the spirits can be whiskey, tobacco, plant a bush somewhere, take care of the river. Those types of things are much better offerings. However, it's also important for you as the consumer to know that if you're coming to a psychic, your psychic has a business, and just like any other business, we have insurance to pay, we have rent to pay, we have light bills to pay, we have internet bills to pay, and those things mount up, and we have to reflect those bills in the fees for our sessions. So you want to treat it like any other service-based industry. You have the right to not be read, and the psychic has the right to not read you. So if you end up going to a psychic and they're just not getting a vibe, they may say, I don't think this is working out. And they might ask you to make an appointment with somebody else or give you a suggestion of who you can go see. I have done that more than once, given clients other psychics that I think would be better fit for them. And that's a big part of what the community is all about. Knowing other readers helps each psychic to determine, perhaps this is not the right client for me. Perhaps I'm not the right psychic for this client. And we will often give insight by saying, maybe go to this person or that other person. There's certainly nothing wrong with that. But remember that if your psychic has a policy, a cancellation policy or a booking policy, your fee may be required up front. Cancellation policy may be no more than or no less than 24 hours in advance. Otherwise, it could cost you money. And it's important to remember they're reserving that block of time just for you. So if something happens and you can't make it, don't think, oh, well, you want to let them know because they're sitting there waiting for you. Anyway, I think that's all I have to share with you. Psychics are, they're all working on the same energy. They're all working with their intuition. They're all working with their own spirit guides, with your spirit guides when you come in. They may be picking up on spirits that are around you, whether they're mediums or not. They may still pick up on Great Aunt Betty. She might be around whispering in that psychic's ear saying, tell her she needs to get married. And where's my great niece or nephew? So there's no one true best psychic method, just like there's no one true best psychic. It's all there are as many methods as there are questions in the universe. And I think that is something that really helps us to expand our own horizon by going to different psychics who have different offerings and having those experiences. So yeah, that's it. I gotta flip back over so you can see so I can see you seeing my face again. Here I am. I hope that you've enjoyed this little presentation. I do notice that I say so and a lot, and I do giggle, but that's just my personality. So I hope to hear from you, hope to see you at the Enchanted Forest. And if you want to connect with me, you always can. You got this video because you signed up for my mailing list. So I look forward to working with you. My website is LoonWitch.com, LoonWitch.com. You can contact me by email, is always best, LoonWitch@gmail.com. So thank you so much for joining my mailing list. Look forward to working with you and seeing you in the future. Be well.